Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Get Celebritized. I'm your host, Aurea McGarry, bringing you amazing men and women to help you earn more so you can live more, so you can live your big, vivacious, wonderful, juicy legacy lives, and you can learn how to give back more with gusto because you have an overflowing abundance of health, wealth, prosperity, balance, all the good, juicy things you need to live an abundant life and have overflow exponentially to give to causes, people, and neighbors that matter most to you. Today, I'm very excited to bring a very long-time special friend of mine to you to introduce you to her story, and her excellence. Her name is Emmy Matthews, and I've known her many, many, many years. She is a leader of women. She is a leader in business. Listen to this. Emmy Matthews is the founder and CEO of Emmy Matthews Integrated, a marketing and consulting agency. She and her team have helped, you ready for this? She and her team have helped businesses earn over $80 million just in the past 4 years now. Whoa, you're going to want to meet her. She's also a leader of women as the executive managing director of the eWomen Network Atlanta chapter. She's amazing. She's wonderful. She's brilliant. She's wise. Let me bring her up to the stage. Amy, get up here. Welcome, welcome to Get Celebritized.
Thank you so much for having me. I have seen this podcast over and over again and all the special stuff you do. So I'm super excited to be here with everyone. And with an intro like that, who wouldn't be excited?
Well, Amy, I mean, every bit of it. And, I have worked with you and your company in the past. You are excellent. And that's why I gave you a personal invitation to be on the show, because my viewers and listeners need to hear from your wisdom, because you're a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur, a business owner, and a powerful CEO and a leader of women on a daily basis. So let's introduce you tell us right off the bat, what are you doing right now and how are you helping businesses grow exponentially? That $80 million is nothing to sneeze at.
Absolutely. So interestingly enough, the thing that I do is the thing I've been doing for more than 3 decades. To me, it's important to know that marketing isn't hard. And I am on a mission to make sure that all of you stop making it that way. Whether you run a multi-million-dollar business, whether you're just starting out, or you have a small business that may or may not have hit 6 figures yet. I understand the ways to really resonate with an audience and get in there and do the right things at the right time without killing yourself on the hamster wheel. And so that's really everything I'm all about. And we have several ways that we do that with clients, both large and small.
Well, you mentioned the key word that I leaned into was marketing. So with that seems to be a lot of people, most businesses go under because people don't know that they exist. I love what I do, Get Celebritized, celebritizing them. So tell us, how best can they market in this day and age of 2024 when the world seems to be so busy, so fast, and We've got less than a nanosecond to get attention? Give us some of your best marketing tips.
So I would say the top one, the one that everyone struggles with, both small and large businesses, so you got to lean in, you got to really understand this, is it is not about you. It is not about what you offer, the features and benefits. It's about your customer and what keeps them up at night. What pain point can you solve? What consequence of that pain point do they talk about, the stuff they'll even admit to you? And how do you provide a unique solution that solves the problem for them? So many businesses spend all their time listing features and benefits. And I say all the time, if you're going to do that, this is your second tip. If you're going to list features and nothing but, then be sure to tack on this wonderful phrase at the end. And would you like fries with that? Because you've just become a fast food menu instead of really resonating with your client. Everything you do in business should begin and end with your client, your customer, your patient, your guest, whatever you call them. And when you make it about them, marketing becomes much simpler along the way.
Great advice. And let's simple this down just even a little bit more. Can you give us an example? Because I know so many, and hey, myself included, get caught up in here's that menu. Here's what I can serve up. So what would it look like? What would that landing page look like? Or maybe that Facebook ad? What should it say?
So let's take an example of something that we do in our company. We launched in January the Shattering Expectations Club, and it's a community for smaller businesses, solopreneurs, to really resonate and understand how to market their businesses. So I could list you all the features. We have a monthly Q&A call, and you get a monthly toolkit, and you get insights, and you get access to a private community that doesn't live on social media, but lives on our platform. So you see, I can keep going and listing. And at the end, I really should be saying, would you like fries with that?
I love that. I won't ever forget that now. We want fries with that.
Or I can say, if you are overwhelmed by all of the options in marketing and what you really need are results-driven strategies, actionable plans, and guidance to understand how to implement all of that, then this is the club for you. So see, I made it all about them. I made it about the 3 basic needs. They need to know, what am I going to do that works? They need to know, how do I plan it out? And how do I take action on it? If I list all those other things, that's how we do it.
Which they don't need to know
really
right
matters
now.
Yeah. So to avoid the asking if they want fries or to supersize it, I want to stick with how do you solve their problem? The same with you, Aurea.
What problem you solve, you mean?
Yeah,
what problem you solve? They don't really care about the how. They just need to know that you can do that. And list those 3 things again, because they're really, really good and juicy. And I want people to be able to write those down. It was really good.
So for us, for our particular club, it's results-driven strategies. So take all the years and decades of experience I have and that have proven those results that got those $80 million and up. And then you take actionable plans. A lot of times people in their marketing don't have an actionable plan. What are you going to do? What's the path to getting there? And the third thing is guidance. What I do in the other big part of my business is serve as what we call a fractional chief marketing officer. So think chief marketing officer, Coca-Cola, or different divisions. This is in your small business in the amount of chunk of time that you need it. So I take all that guidance that I've accumulated over those decades and give you access to that so you can ask those questions. It comes down to, I had so many small businesses, really micro businesses, come to me and say, how do I work with you? And I get tired of saying, you don't. There isn't a path for that. And that's why we created this. So when you're thinking of your audience, think of those 2 or 3 things that your ideal customer really will resonate with. So in your case, Aurea, it's about being recognized. You have the authority and expertise, but how do you become a celebrity in that industry? Are you tired of not being heard? Are you tired of being the best kept secret in town? Then Aurea is your person. So you see how it's about those pain points and really resonating with them, not about what do you get when you join something.
That is so good. I mean, we could just close it up right now. That was golden. Really good. Because it is one of the biggest mistakes everybody makes. So we've seen it and we probably have all done it if we're honest with ourselves. So with that being said, we know that's a mistake that the entrepreneur is probably making or has made in the past. You are very successful. You balance being a wife, a mother, a beautiful little girl. I just love your daughter so much. And running a big business and helping other businesses generate over $80 million in revenue. So tell us what maybe is your biggest mistake that you've made so we can learn from a mistake you've made in the past that, if I could do that over, I would not do that moving forward in my business.
Hire a team sooner.
You've got a great team now.
Hands down, hire a team sooner. Team members, whether you bring them on as contractors or as employees, they are not cost. They are investment. They are an investment in your company and growing it. I think it is short-sighted as entrepreneurs. We've all been there. It's a mistake I made. You think you're taking money out of your pocket when really what you are doing is exponentially putting more time, therefore the ability to earn more money in your pocket. So it's about hiring a team, getting in there. And you know what? The team you hire day 1 will not necessarily, nor should it have to be the team that's there day 365 or day 1000 and beyond. People grow, people change. And so don't become so married to one way and be open to it, because you're going to grow and evolve and your team has to grow and evolve too.
It's the constant life that we live. You're always changing. You can count on death, taxes, and change, you know?
Right.
And I like you said that. Your person today doesn't have to be your forever person for all time. So I love that. But I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask anyway. On that note, when you said hire a team sooner, that's such good advice. What was your best decision you have made on that line in your business? Or should I say who?
So you do know the answer to this one because you've heard me say it before. The best hiring decision I ever made was hiring an executive assistant. So I want you to take notice. I didn't say virtual assistant. I didn't say assistant. I didn't say any of those. I said executive assistant. I sought out someone that could do the following for me. One, understood me, understood where I was coming from and where I was going, and understood that that would evolve constantly. Someone that I could trust. Your relationship with an executive assistant is very different than a relationship with anybody else in your company because they're in all your stuff.
Yeah.
Let's just face it. They know everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the, oh my God, I need to plan a break for her because she needs a minute to just go off. So that is the best hire that I ever made. And it's been a growing experience. Both of us have learned to work together. You all may as well know this. Her name is Jillian Dilbeck, and she has worked with me for a couple years. I have known her for a very long time.
She's great.
And we have a great affection for each other. I drive her crazy sometimes. She drives me crazy, and she makes everything phenomenal and keeps me on track, and also is the one that knows when to put the brakes on and get on a call with me, and we'll say, you know what, we're not going to talk about this. You're not going to review anything today because you're going to hate everything that lands in front of you. So I'd like you to go take a break and look at this in the morning.
They know when to put up the do not disturb sign.
Exactly.
I love that.
Even when you have to do it for yourself, put up your own do not disturb sign and say, go off and take a minute.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in this day and age of after, I should say, post-pandemic, post-quarantine, all that stuff, we all got caught up, I believe, if we're in entrepreneurship, in the virtual assistants, which has a place in our business, somebody that can just do those tasks that just need to get done. So your executive, like Jill, your executive assistant, does that have to be in person? Should she be in person? Or can that executive assistant that you're talking about be virtual and not live close to you?
I love this question for a variety of reasons. So I have several team members. We are a team of about 7. We do not office together. We are in different states. Okay. We sometimes get together in person. We sometimes don't. I have a member of my team. You also know him, Jason, who has been with us for a very long time. And it was years working together before I physically was in the same space with him because he lives in Florida and I live in Georgia. So no, you don't have to, for my company, we do not have to be in the same general vicinity. Not every business is like that. Now, There are things that we do. eWomen Network is one example of that, where I needed someone like Jill who lives in the same city as I do. We used to live closer together. We live a little further apart now, but I needed that piece. It really is about your business and how you work. Mm-hmm. Don't shy away from someone that isn't in your hometown, your back pocket, because you may be shying away from the perfect person to do what you want. But every business is different. Every client base is different.
For sure. Because I really see what you do with eWomen Network, which we love and have been a member of for like 23 years. It's a wonderful women's community. And you being the chapter director here, we do meet in person every single month. We have a monthly luncheon that we all so enjoy. And we do meet, like we said, in person. We were virtual during the pandemic, but that is now our past. Thank God it's our past. And having Jill there, how important is it that Jill, your executive assistant, is there? Because I see her doing so much, being your right arm in that room. Would that work as well if she wasn't in person?
So that's a perfect example. For me, I needed someone local because of that meeting that I help run. And just one point of clarification, the Atlanta chapter meets twice a month. We do different things, small group and larger group meeting. But our big meeting once a month, we meet 11 months out of the year in person, and we meet every December online. It came out of some scheduling things with our venue, and it turned into we get a huge group of people from all over the world that join us that 1 month a year, people that came to our meetings every month during the pandemic. So having Jill local for me was important for that reason. I do have other team members, and they aren't local. So I have a couple local and others outside of the state. So it really just depends on your business and what works.
Well, that's really good and really important, because I find that especially women in business, trying to wear every hat, doing it all alone, like you said in the beginning of this conversation, saving that dollar, thinking we can't afford it. I mean, sometimes it's just you need to get a maid, it's once a month, deep clean, and stop trying to do that yourself. Tidy up every day, yeah, of course, but that deep clean, stop taking a whole day out to do it. Your time is very valuable. Hire somebody, let them do it, and let them get the job for sure. So on that note of needing to keep the house clean, being moms, being wives, many of my viewers are single moms, trying to do it all, be successful, being part of the top 1% that's really having a career, being a CEO, not just a solopreneur. What is your best advice for women in business that are trying to manage a household, whether alone or with a spouse, to be able to still be the CEO of their business? Best decisions, worst decisions, and some tips.
Okay, so let me preface it by saying I was a single woman working. I took care of myself and my dog. So the frame of reference of being a single mom is not one that I can speak to in any way, shape, or form. I haven't done that. What I can speak to is having a real partnership with your spouse and how we've done that. For years, my husband and I had what we called sister companies. 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, we merged those two companies together. His company became a part of my company, and we shifted the balance in our household of who would do what. And he is hands down the person that is the main go-to person for everything Mia. That's my daughter's name. So he handles all of the things relative to her. He does still have a few clients, and he does some of those things, but on a much different scale. And he is much more comfortable behind the scenes than out front like me. I like being out here. It is not his jam. He's great at it, but it's not his jam. So
you had each other's strengths and rode on those and combined your businesses because they had similar demographics. They served together. It's not like one was a EMT and another one is a professional speaker. It's what you did blended and helped businesses together.
Right. He ran a digital marketing company producing mainly websites and technology pieces. Mm-hmm. And we spun off the website piece of that and folded it into my company and we call that AMI Digital Services. So we did that early on and in the beginning of this shifting over a couple of years ago. And so it is a partnership. We are partners. It's interesting. We talk all the time. I am a huge proponent of coaches and getting people to help you and signing up for things that you need. I happen to be lucky enough to have come from a background with a business degree and a master's in business, a husband with an engineering degree and a master's in business, and both of us come from the corporate world. So we kind of got a lot of that part covered.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah, exactly. So we get a lot of things, and he is my go-to person. We sit down and talk about things.
That's so cool.
I'll give you one piece of advice that I think I've found in all my years in networking that I think a mistake that women make is, first of all, notice I said we collaborate together. We talk about things. He's a great resource for me to bounce ideas off of. You will never hear me say the following phrase: let me go check with my husband before I make that decision. Unless it is a decision that's specifically in his wheelhouse, a piece of technology, a particular process improvement kind of thing.
His expertise, you need
his expertise. Then I'll say, just like I would say for anybody on my team, let me go talk to so-and-so and work through that. And I think women make that mistake. Sometimes it's I need more time to think about it. So here's the thing. Own it. Say, I call it percolate. I need to let it percolate. Some people say ponder. Some people need to let it simmer, whatever you want to call it. But stop saying that you have to go ask for permission.
I love that.
Because it so detracts from who you are as a business person. And I think 99% of the time, that's not at all what you mean. Mm-hmm. So refrain from saying that, even if it's a discussion you're going to have. Now, my husband and I make a lot of joint decisions in the business when it comes to what we're investing in and what we're doing, because we have that kind of collaborative relationship, but I don't go ask for permission.
Yeah, I think a better, like you were saying, a better verbiage for that in this day and age is, I'd really love to get my husband's advice and his input. He's really wise in this area, and I'd love to get his insights on it. Then I'll get back to you. Because there's nothing
And
wrong with
you don't even have to say that. You can say, you know what? I like to think things over. So I'm going to step back and think things over and talk to a couple advisors, and I will let you know.
But I'm saying, like with you, like you work with your husband, it would be appropriate for that, not just in general, to say I really value his expertise because we work together in the business. So if your partnership's in business with your husband or husbands with your wives, it's always, it's not wrong to say, well, let me get their insights. I really like, because we are 50-50 partners. That's fine. But I love that you're addressing neither party needs to ask permission in this day and age for that. Getting advice and pondering, thinking over, or getting wise counsel is smart, especially if it's a big decision, like a big financial decision. If it's not, it's just, a small ticket, we all can, spend our money as we see fit for our business and for our lives. But that more bigger investment, to get wise counsel, that's fine. And I love that you mentioned that. That was a big deal back in the 90s, 80s, 90s, and even the beginning of this century. God, that sounds weird, doesn't it? When I did okay. That was the go-to. Everybody had to say, I got to go ask my husband. And we got so tired of that, because really, did they ask your permission to go if they would need to buy a set of golf clubs or whatever? And it was little money. It wasn't big investment money. It was $100, and it's really, we've come a long way, baby.
Well, and I think it's something that, interestingly enough, there are lots of reasons why people don't buy. And, it can boil down into a couple different categories. They don't have the trust for it. They don't see the value in it, the need for it. They don't have time to incorporate it. And money. I will say money is the one that people talk about the most, and it is the lowest on the list of what actually happens. It usually is a diversionary tactic to get you to stop asking them so they can process it. And what I would encourage anyone is own that. Own that you need to think through a decision, because if especially you're selling to other businesses, you don't want to frame it that you have to go and check with other people first, because you've diminished your role in the organization or group you're going to be in, because they don't feel like they're with the decision maker anymore.
Oh, that's good. That's really good, Amy.
And when you
are
have
the decision maker, own it.
And we have a client who says that, lean in and say, well, tell me more about that. What kinds of questions do you need answered, so that you pose those? And a lot of times you can move them past their indecision. And it's okay to say, I don't know. I'm not ready to make a decision. So that would be one of my things that I've witnessed watching lots of people make that mistake. Primarily women. You don't hear a lot of men say, let me go talk to my wife.
Right, exactly. And I love that too, if you dive deeper to overcome any of the questions and obstacles that they're giving you, and say, okay, so if money wasn't an object, you would make that decision today. Or if this wasn't the obstacle, this would be right for you. So meeting the need, like you said, if the pain is there and you can solve the pain, then there's something else happening. It's not just the money, because I can attest to myself and so many people, when we want something bad enough, we find the money.
Exactly. Yes, you make it. Sandra Yancey, who's the founder of eWomen Network, says all the time, the answer to that question and evidence of that is the number of little black dresses that women have. They all have 5 different little black dresses, or even more specifically, they have how many pairs of black pants. Yes. And she describes it as, I have my, I'm not feeling so thin today, black pants. I have my, my casual black pants. I have this. Yeah. Or I also have my girlfriend's got to come over and help me lay down and squeeze into these black pants. We will find a way to really get what we need. Then if you do that and you get past what are the other reasons that are stopping them, then you know that you're not going to miss out. You know that you're going to get the sale and really realize if they need you, if they're ready for you, that sort of thing. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, on that note, since you happen to mention the wonderful Sandra Yancey and eWomen Network, we love to network with each other as women. And Amy, you are so busy. You're running a business that's helping other companies in the past 4 years earn over $80 million. That's no small feat. So you're busy. Tell me why you decided to go into leadership in a role as a chapter director to lead women and do what you do. It obviously takes time. You do an excellent job of it, Amy, because I've been a member of a lot of different networking clubs and groups, and yours has stood the test of time. You're very well organized. You have your right arm or executive assistant. So how important is it to you to do that and lead these women, all of us in eWomen Network? Does it enhance your business? Is it something you just do out of the goodness of your heart? Or has it really made a difference in moving your needle forward in your business?
I think yes to all of those things. So first of all, one thing to note is I didn't always have Jill. Like I said, it was my biggest mistake was taking too long. I did it all by myself for a long time. I don't recommend that. It's easier with help. And that help can come when you're part of an organization that, yes, I have Jill. I also have an amazing leadership team at eWomen Network that do a lot of the heavy lifting. So that is part of it. I used eWomen Network as a platform. I used eWomen Network as a way to celebritize myself, as you would say, in a way that I couldn't do otherwise. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Sandra Yancey was sitting next to me or listening to this podcast, she would say, she wouldn't be like, she used us. She would be like, yes, she used us. That's exactly what I want her to do. We have a mutually beneficial relationship. And so it is about promoting other women. It is about lifting yourself up. The other thing is, if you want to speak on stages, one of the fastest ways to speak on stages is to create your own. And eWomen Network and having a chapter was a great option for me. The chapter, the managing director at the time, Deborah Daniel, was stepping down. Her business was growing and she needed to step aside. I worked with her a lot in the chapter. I was on her leadership team. I like to say I was her leadership team, and we did a lot together. So it was a natural fit. I wanted the chapter to continue to grow and expand. And I also knew it would help. I knew I would grow. Aurea can tell all of you, you can't go to an eWomen Network conference and say my name and find too many people that don't know who I am. That is by design. I worked that to grow in that community, and it absolutely funneled business to me. I have built my business. I can say even to this day, 99% of the revenue that comes into my business came directly or indirectly from my relationships within eWomen Network.
So the moral of that story, I like to let the viewers, wherever they are, I mean, of course, there's chapters everywhere, but not just with eWomen that, of course, we love so much. Get out there and network. It is worth your time, men and women, to get out there and network your business on a regular basis. But my caveat, Amy, tell me if you agree, I've done it both ways. And one, we're spreading yourself, going to all sorts of networking, different ones every day of the week or 2 or 3 times a week, going everywhere, being at all these different ones. Versus what I found worked better for me was zeroing it down, narrowing it down into 1 or 2, maybe 3, where you really get to get known, you get trusted. That's why I've stuck with eWomen for so long, because I can't hop to yours, hop to another, hop to another, hop to another. And then who am I referring to as for realtors? If I know 16 realtors in all these different networking events, who am I referring business to? I haven't built relationships. So I find that 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most, where you can really dive in, get to know the people, get celebritized, get people to know, like, and trust you. And you also get to know, like, and trust them. And it's an easy referral for me to refer people to Amy. I mean, she's the one that does this job the most. And we think marketing, I think Amy Matthews. I don't think 9 other people. Who should I give this referral to? Makes life easier. And I think you go faster. I know I've gone faster and stronger by zoning it in, and it's my community. And it's just,
well, I think you can make a choice. Early on, when I first became managing director, I went to a lot of different networking groups in town. It helped get my name out there.
Yeah.
I will say strategically, I have decided to go deep. And so I have built deep roots and connections within eWomen Network around the country, around the world. You won't find me at other networking groups. You just won't. Here's part of it. And this is my take. It's also the kind of business that I have. If I'm out networking that much, when am I working with my clients? When am I doing the things that run my business? I'm not saying that networking isn't a viable part of your business.
Keys and follow up, and nobody has time to follow up.
Exactly. So I do think it's about being strategic in where you network and being strategic in how you network. and building that presence and then becoming known in the groups that you go in. And then as you expand into other things, you can do the same thing. You cannot be good at everything. You also can't be the best networker in a half dozen networking groups simultaneously. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. All right, as we wind down a little bit, and we've got you here, a captive audience with you, tell the viewers what would be your best advice going forward in 2024, something that they need to stop doing and something they need to start doing to make a difference. Like we say, any women, to make that needle move forward. Thinking about, too, a lot of my community is getting a little concerned about that AI, and we've got all this AI coming, some good, some they're scared of. Is it necessary? Also, new social media platforms opening up, it seems, all the time. They're getting that sense of overwhelm, especially with the business owners I work with. They're women over 40, now over 50, now over 60. They're thinking, if I have to learn one more social media platform, or what is this AI? And now that's not really Tom Cruise. How does that affect my business? So if you could give them a piece of advice, here's something you should definitely do moving forward to grow. Maybe something you've never heard of. And here's something you can just stop doing or stop worrying about.
Okay, so let's unpack them. There's a lot there. So let's unpack a couple. Let's start with AI. And AI is something that I will tell you, the people that are most sounding the alarm about AI are not in my industry. If you are not using AI to help you with your marketing, you are missing an opportunity to end all opportunities. So I'm going to date myself, and Aurea can jump along. You can pretend to not know what I'm talking about.
Sure, before my time.
There was a time you had to go to the library and get the card catalog out. We didn't even have computers. You looked through and looked up subjects and went and found. Then you went to the microfiche. Then you went to the computer searches. And then we had internet searches, Google. Now there's Google, Bing, all kinds of things for that.
Yep.
AI, to a large extent, is that exponentially. The other thing that it is you can invest in, say, some platforms are $20 a month. You can invest in an AI platform that's $20 a month and have it help you outline something, write some captions, do some things. You have to put time and attention into it. But now balance that with, you could hire a person to do that. The same prep time you would need to make sure they had and understood your voice, you still have to spend, and you're spending a lot more, where you could deploy those resources for other things and that money. I'm not saying don't hire people. I'm saying hire them for other things that you need done that can't be done that way. Yeah. So that's one. Don't be afraid of AI because it makes your life easier. I had a conversation with someone else in the space and said, I agree. AI is the game changer for marketers. It's life-changing for us. Mm-hmm. There's a reason that if you go out and subscribe to what the American Marketing Association is saying, what every trend and magazine in marketing and promotions is saying, we're not learning how to stay away from AI. We're learning how to lean in and use it better.
Yes.
I will say one other thing about AI. I mentioned this in another meeting that Aurea and I are in. It is wholeheartedly true. If you were to look at a prompt that Amy writes to use AI, my prompts for AI to help with something are no less than a page and a half. Wow. This is not type in a couple sentences. I tell them, I think of it as a person. I'm telling them the style I want them to write in, the tone I want them to use. I tell them who the ideal customer is, what the brand is, what am I trying to convey, how am I trying to do that. Now give me an outline for a webinar around these topics, and now I have something to start with. You no longer have to start with a blank page.
Right. Now, Amy, that's really good. I want people to really hear that, because it's like the chat GPTs that we use. You're talking like the premium for $20. I know I use it, and I don't use it like that. And that was the best thing you said in one of our collective meetings for our women's group. When you said that, I'm like, wow, a page and a half. I'm like, I thought I was doing good giving it a couple of good sentences. But now I'm going to rethink that, because it really does need to get to know your brand, your thought, your process, not just give me this and this tone and for this person. Yep. So that's really, really good advice.
Ask it questions. So I will pose a question, give it a little information, and say, what else do you need to know before we get started? It will ask you questions. Then you answer the question.
I never thought of that.
Is there anything else? Oh, okay. I need to also know these things. Okay. So you answer those. Anything else? And it'll tell you, nope, I think I'm ready to get started. Great. Let's start. And it gives you, and then it says, what do you think? And you can say, I want it shorter. I want it longer. Can you give me, for those of us that aren't in their 20s anymore, you might say, can you give me like some trendy phrases to use instead of this? That's helpful. It is especially helpful when it comes to, and this is where I want to angle into the social media, when it comes to providing and addressing content on platforms that have extremely short lifespans. If you're not using AI to help you write social media captions, you're just flat out banging your head against a wall for no reason. Your social media post, has a half-life of 15 seconds? Why would you spend 3 hours writing it?
True. And they'll write it better. And they'll do the SEO rich words, which you could say.
And they'll give you emojis. I could spend an hour trying to find the perfect emoji. So they'll do all of those things. So that brings me to the last part of your question. And this is one that I think people, entrepreneurs especially, have to figure out and understand. Social media is a marketing tool and channel. It is not a marketing strategy.
Yes.
You only should be on a social media channel if your ideal customer is there making purchase decisions relative to what you sell. So for example, if your target audience is a woman in her 40 to 60, let's say, and you're selling her business coaching services, then you probably don't need to be on Instagram to do it. She's there, but she's probably there like I am, either checking client stuff or quite frankly, looking at baking things. Aurea knows I like to bake and decorate cookies. They might be looking at puppy things. I'm a big dog person as well, or other things relative to
entertainment to us. We're striving for entertainment.
Yeah. I'm not there to buy. I'm really not there to buy.
That's a good point.
Your target audience is a 13-year-old Korean girl who happens to live down the hall from me, who is looking for the latest makeup trends. Then you want to be on YouTube Shorts. We don't allow her on TikTok, but that kind of thing. So you have to be where they are.
Go back to the woman, though, you said where to not make a decision on Instagram. Where would that woman be? Is it
a woman that's looking for a business coach? She's either looking, she might look on Facebook because she's probably more apt to be there and it's designed for more content. She's most likely looking for that person on LinkedIn.
That's what I thought.
Because that's the space that it is. So you need to show up where they are, not where you're most comfortable. I know that's hard to hear, but you also need to show up for the reason that they're there. So yes, if you're selling makeup, you absolutely probably want to be on Instagram. And that woman in her 40s to 60s, if you're helping her with makeup, figure out what to do, how to put my eye makeup on.
Right.
We've all been there. Maybe the eye makeup doesn't go on quite the same as it did 30 years ago.
For sure.
But be on Instagram. So stop thinking about catching up with the latest trend and evaluate where is your customer and what are they doing.
That's so good, Amy. If nothing else, I mean, if they grab that today, that's golden. Stop trying to keep up with all the trends, because that's part of that overwhelm that I talk about. Find where your audience is. But you said it even deeper. You went even more vertical, which I love. You said find out not just where they are, but where they make their purchases, which, that's so good. Because yes, I'm on Instagram and I'm scrolling and watching all the pet videos. I'm not buying on Instagram. But over on LinkedIn, or I'm buying from social audio apps. I do LinkedIn audio rooms, and I do, a Chatter or Clubhouse. That's my jam. But I love that you said that, where are they making the buying decision, which takes such a burden off of, especially the ladies out there trying to have to be everywhere. Now I got to learn TikTok. And no, you don't. You can have your entertainment there, but where is your client making the buying decision? That's so good, Amy. And as we close up now, I'm going to ask you two things. One, your last piece of great advice for that person in business that is still stuck maybe in being solopreneur, entrepreneur, and they want to go to CEO, like we talk about a lot. And I want to ask you to end with, what is your legacy? How do you most want to be remembered, Amy? You do so much. You impact so many of us. I want to know what's most important to you for all of us to remember you by.
Okay, so let's start with the first one. I think the thing from a CEO standpoint, moving into being a CEO, is really about changing the way you approach things. Make decisions based on your business, what you are trying to do. You are in business and you're in business to make money. And guess what? There is nothing wrong with making money. So you don't have to discount everything you do. You don't have to change everything every time. You need to lean in and own who you are and what you offer and stand by that. I think that that is paramount, be you male or female, in how you approach what you sell and what you do, and learn how to get help. Being a solopreneurs also have teams. They hire people to do their website. They might hire people to schedule their social media. Stop thinking that you're in it on your own, because if you're hiring people to do those things, you have a team. You hired a CRM system. It's a team. You may be inputting it yourself, but there is a team and resources that you're working on. And I think that is paramount to really driving your business forward with exponential growth. The other thing is, stop getting hung up on what you're going to do this year, next year. Remove time from the equation. I've learned that from Dan Sullivan. Set a 25-year plan, because now it's no longer hard because of the time. You just figure out the direction that you're headed. As far as my legacy, I think it's twofold. One is, I want to empower entrepreneurs in whatever size business they have, whatever gender they are, whether they don't identify as a particular gender, that marketing isn't hard, and that they have to stop making it that way. They have to stop putting these unrealistic demands on themselves that there will be everywhere, say everything, and be applicable to all people. And then I think what it really boils down to is, my legacy is a lot of my 13-year-old who is confident and self-assured and has incredible goals for herself. And I started this business with a conversation that happened at my dinner table when she was 4. And she made the comment that, "What are you talking about? Mommy is mommy. She doesn't do anything else." She had no idea I went to college or had a graduate degree. And my husband was encouraging me to start a business. And so I started this for her and for other young women and girls to realize that you can be all the things you want to be. You don't have to be one thing in your lifetime. You have to be the things that fit and bring you joy, and lean into that and give yourself grace, because we're not perfect. And if that is what I inspire other young women, and most specifically my daughter, then I have done my job and left a legacy worth remembering.
Oh my gosh, Amy, you have just been so fabulous, so open, so full of wisdom, and you have a heart bigger than we can't even measure. And I just want to thank you so much for being here and sharing all of it with us here on Get Celebritized. Been wanting you on this show for so long. You're so important, special to me, and you really are living your legacy. You are impacting your daughter most of all. And I love that your husband says, encourages you, say you need to start a business. That is so good. So thank you so much for being here. I want to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me. And I have always loved you and loved having you around. You're always the life of the room. And thank you so much for letting me be here and share with all of you today.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. And if you're all interested, and I hope you are, if you need Amy's help, I put her website below. It'll be in the description. If you like anything you heard about the networking, we'll give a shout out to eWomen Network. We love eWomen and Sandra Yancey.
Absolutely.
Tell us what Sandra Yancey wants to help. How many women become millionaires?
So the mission for eWomen Network is to help 1 million women earn $1 million in annual revenue.
I love that. And as your accolade was, you've helped businesses earn over $80 million. I love that with Sandra Yancey and our women's group, we want to help 1 million women earn $1 million, because we are the minority when it comes to that. And Absolutely. Our time has come. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Woo-hoo. Amy, thank you so much. And thank you
so much for having me.
You've been a delight. Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you've learned something today to help you earn more so you can live more. So now you have abundance to give back more to causes and people that matter most to you. So until next time, this is Aurea McGarry signing off with Amy Matthews. Thank you so much. Have a great one. Bye, everybody.